Hello and welcome to the Asian Game presented by SMC, coming to you from Doha on another historic night for Asian football as Korea Republic defeated Portugal 2-1 to qualify for the round of 16, becoming the third Asian nation to get through to the knockout stage. It's the first time in history that has happened. Paul Williams and Michael Church, you guys were at the game tonight. Michael, coming to you first. Massive, you sure?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's usually Paul,
ready.
I'm ready. I'd break it up tonight. Yeah, like I said, it's a massive result for Korea, a massive result for Asian football. And history, I mean, we've lived the ebbs and flows of this tournament with Asia being up, being down. It looked like at some point there might not be any going through. Now we've got three and made history. So yeah, it's a fantastic thing for Asian football and for Korean football.
It's been a total roller coaster, hasn't it? I mean, as you say, we've gone through the ringer on it as fans of the Asian game, and to see Korea going through and to do it in the way that they did it as well, is remarkable. Again, much like they did against Germany 4 years ago, scoring in injury time to win it, and Hwang Hee-chan coming off the bench, a player who we've talked about on a number of occasions that they've really missed him. He's come off the bench, he's made the difference, he's scored the winner, and just an incredible result. 3 Asian teams are winning. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And of course, the way that things are set up now, I mean, all three are on the same side of the draw, so
exactly.
It's not inconceivable if things really fall into place that we could, I don't know, to see an all-AFC semi-final. That would be quite something else, but that's jumping a little bit ahead of things. Paul, for you, no Paulo Bento on the touchline tonight, as we saw. He was quite animated up in the stands at one point, standing up, and the punters behind him were telling him to sit down because he was blocking their view of the game. For you, what was the key to Korea's victory tonight?
I think it was what Michael referenced then, Hwang Hee-chan and his return. It wasn't a great performance by Korea, if we're being honest, and we've had this discussion. I'm a results-orientated person, so they got the result, that's all that mattered, but it didn't look like it throughout the 90 minutes that they were going to be able to get that result because they weren't playing particularly well. But Hwang Hee-chan, when he came on, he showed the difference that he makes to this Korean side. He was direct, he takes players on, he takes a little bit of that burden off Son Heung-min, and he's a player that, and Michael and I had this discussion on the way back from the game, he's a player that Son trusts. So many times in the situation that Son was in tonight, he's tried to take that ball on himself and do it all himself. He sees Hwang Hee-chan running through. He knows he's a player that he can trust it to make that run and finish it, and he finished it coolly. And to do it in those circumstances in the, I can't remember exactly what minute it was, 90th, 91st, whatever it might have been. You saw Paulo Bento was animated. I was animated up in the press seats as well because it was a just dramatic way to finish the game, but it wasn't over at that point. They then had to wait 6 or 7 minutes to find out the result of the other game. We're all trying to catch vision of that on monitors wherever we could to find out what was happening. The players were watching it in a huddle afterwards. Spoke to some of the players after the game, Son Heung-min, and they said they were calm afterwards, that they were content that they'd done what they needed to do, and whatever way the result had fallen, they could be proud of their efforts in getting the win, and it fell their way.
Right, like you said, it didn't fall the way of Uruguay. Neither, unfortunately, for Ghana did it fall their way. And we keep referencing it, some amazing fans throughout the tournament. The Ghanaians have come here in big numbers as well and have really provided life and colour. And we actually caught up with one of their supporters, a guy named Justice, who's also here working in Qatar. He's working on the tournament as a traffic controller. So yeah, we spoke to him to get some of his thoughts about the tournament as a whole, what it's like to be working here, and a little bit on his love and passion for the Black Stars as well.
Today we won, and then I said, yeah, my people are not back. My people are in town, and a lot of them are celebrating really hard here in Qatar. And then when you go on WhatsApp now, everything is just Ghana, 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 go Ghana, go Ghana, go Ghana. Yeah, so it's a very happy day, and then very memorial one also. It's a very good area, very good environment, and just here you can see all the countries in one view, and then you can see all the flags are waving at each other. Say hello, hi, how are you? I'm good. Very, very nice and beautiful view, especially when there is a lightly heavy wind. You see all of them waving. So far in Qatar, this is the most beautiful view for me. I love seeing all the flags together, waving, waving, waving at each other. You can see Germany, South Korea, Japan, Afghanistan, Uruguay, and then my country, Ghana. So it's very beautiful. It's like you have the whole world at one place. So right now we're part of Supreme Committee controlling cars and traffic in town right now. So basically this is what I'm doing. So I've left graphic design and video editing. So I said, okay, this being my first experience, I would like to travel outside my country to come and see how other countries also look like. So I volunteered myself that, okay, I want to come and help FIFA, help the world. Then, you know, football is something that brings us all together. Like I say, the people here are also welcoming. Yeah, they appreciate human. Other countries, there are a lot of racism there, but here you don't see it. Although I'm a Christian and this is an Islamic country, but then you can see the human in us. There's nothing like do this. I have my time to go to church to pray. They also have their time to go to church, the mosques, and pray. So we are living comfortably and amicably here. I have 3 Kenyan friends, one close Indian friend. His name is Sat. For now, I want to finish my work here as per agreement and go back to my country. I love my country so much. I see my son. I have a son. He's 3 years. I miss him. We do video call a lot. Yeah. Today, when I was going for supper, I had to call him, and then we were talking. Blah 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 blah. When are you coming? I said, don't worry. And in my dialect, Dad, I always hang. Like, Dad, where are you? I said, don't worry. And I'll be back soon. Lost to Portugal. I was very sad that day. See, I was very sad because I love my country. I want us to go far. See, yeah. So I was very sad, but today I was in full support of my boys because I knew they were going to play very well today, and voila, that was it. We won 3-2. Yeah, and I believe our next match is with Uruguay, and not just hoping, I know we are going to win also. Maybe 2-0 or maybe 2-1 against Uruguay, because this is more than El Clasico. This is more than Real Madrid versus Barcelona, because this to Ghana, to the Black Stars, Uruguay match is more than a revenge. It's a comeback because we have issues with them. Yeah, we round of 16, we scored them, and then if you know their player Luis Suarez, yeah, he caught the ball. I don't know if you have heard those stories. Yeah. So we score, but he used his hand to clear the ball from the goal, and it was actually a goal. But then the referee took a penalty, and then we missed. We like to do something in Ghana we call jama. Okay, so it goes. We have a lot of them. Say, Onyame yodo, wana ode wo tunyame so, say, Onyame yodo, hallelujah Hosanna, hallelujah Hosanna, hallelujah Hosanna, Onyame yodo, hallelujah Hosanna, hallelujah Hosanna, hallelujah Hosanna. Then you come like, achodi. Ghana, we say, yeah, achodi. Yeah, so then the next one also come, then the next one also come, then the next one also come.
Welcome back to the Asian Game presented by SMC, and yeah, it was great to catch up with Justice. Seems like a very fun-loving guy. Hopefully the Australian supporters will be in that kind of a buoyant mood tomorrow, as well as we look ahead to their massive round of 16 clash with Argentina, nonetheless. Paul, can they get it done?
Where is Messi? It's going to be extraordinarily difficult to get it done. We've already seen Argentina fall to Asian opposition at this World Cup once before, so never say never, nothing is impossible, but in a knockout game at a World Cup against Argentina and Messi, it's going to be very, very difficult. Australia have ridden their luck a couple of times in this tournament so far. I said last time that Australia played against Denmark, I was remaining optimistic. It's very hard to be optimistic going into this game, but we've seen results at this World Cup that don't particularly make a lot of sense. You know, we thought coming into this Japan and Korea with no chance to get out of the group with their final group games, and here they are now, both in the round of 16. So I won't say that they're no chance, but I will say it's going to be extraordinarily difficult. They'd need everything to go their way.
Michael, we heard from Graham Arnold, the Socceroos coach, today, as well as Harry Suter, the central defender. For you, were there any pertinent points to come out of those pre-match comments?
I thought it was interesting that Arnie referenced back to the game at the Olympic Games last year when Australia beat Argentina 2-0 in Tokyo. I'm not sure it's entirely relevant, certainly not from the perspective of the Argentinians. I think there's only 2 players in the squad that were at that tournament. But the Australian squad, Arnie's picked a lot of players who he had in that squad. I think it's 10, 9 from the under-23s, and then Mitch Duke as well as the overage player. So, you know, there's some relevance, I suppose, in terms of, you know, it takes away maybe some of the aura, the mystique of the Argentinians. But it's going to be a tough game. Argentina, you know, they had that blip against Saudi Arabia. I think the other pertinent point actually Arnie made was about those first games for a lot of teams, because there wasn't a lot of time to prepare. 1 week coming in, getting that opportunity to almost have your pre-World Cup friendly was your first game played. Australia lost that first game 4-1. Argentina lost 2-1 to Saudi Arabia. Teams are a bit more up and running now, so I think we'll get a better idea of where Argentina are at. I think it's going to be a really tough game. I want to hear the Australian fans get behind the team, because it's not something they do very often. It's not something they do very well. If you can't do it in a round of 16 game against one of the greatest teams in the world, and featuring arguably the greatest player of all time, then when can you support your team?
Of course, Paul, we're in the knockout stages now, so that means a possibility of extra time and perhaps penalties as well. Graham Arnold today said that they haven't been practicing penalties, no time to really do much of anything with a short turnaround between games. Of course, the possibility, and the whole world's watching, if it does go to penalties, will he make a goalkeeping substitution, as we saw in the playoff against Peru? Firstly, I guess we hope that we can get the penalties and be in that position, but do you think that is a possibility?
Probably likely. I mean, that's the whole reason that Andrew Redmayne is in this squad, is for that very scenario that you get to penalties, and then you bring on your supposed penalty specialists. So that's the reason that Andrew Redmayne is in this squad. So I would expect, if we get to that situation, I'd be very surprised if we didn't see a goalkeeping substitution,
means, unless to hold a substitute.
Unless for whatever reason they've had to make their 5 substitutions already. You know, if you get an injury or two that forces your hand in terms of making substitutions, that may play into it. So it'll depend on the situation of the match. But if they have that substitution up their sleeve, I would fully expect Graham Arnold to use it, because he's set out his stall. This is what we do. Andrew Redmayne's in this squad to be our penalty saver.
Yeah, well, that will certainly be fascinating. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow to review that match and start our preview ahead to the games involving Japan and Korea in a couple of days' time. But to take us out tonight, here's a look at some of the Korean supporters from their last couple of matches here at the World Cup. Their main man, Son Heung-min, who amazingly hasn't scored yet at the World Cup, but just what he means and how, tightly he's held in the hearts of Korean supporters.
Heung-min Son, the captain of Korea, even though he has an injury with his face, but he tried really hard to win this game. So we all love Son Heung-min.
The number 7, the Mr. Son from Tottenham, he's the best player in Asia ever.
He always smiling, and then he has a good manner, so I really love. And he's also cute. Yeah, so I love him.
He is cute.
Because his smile is lovely.
He's the best player in Korea so far, and he's won the Golden Boot last year in the Premier League, and that's the most recognized league in the world. And we think that's amazing. We would have never thought an Asian player to get such a high accomplishment. So that's why we love Sonny. Sonny is like a god in Korea.
호날두보다 좋은 점이 뭘까요?
선미가
네.
결정적인 찬스에서 실수가 없다. 오케이.
Every time when Mr. Son has a ball, like in a very important situation, like he never missed the chance.
Better than Ronaldo. Yeah. Ronaldo is very old. Sonny is very young. more than Ronaldo.
As a Korean, we think the polite is the most Korean thing, and he's really polite. Even though he's really good player, he's very famous in the world, but still he's very humble. He's very polite and he's very efficient.
Because he's intelligent, he's always like being very humble, as well as he's a really the best
More like his personality.
player, yeah, of Korea. So like I bet like all the Korean like they love him, yeah, and we including us, yeah.